ने कहा वो उसकी अपनी राय है जिसकी पुष्टि नेशन न्यूज इंडिया नहीं करता। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, Antony, for inviting me to speak here on the occasion of release of this book. As the title itself suggests, Democracy Derailed, and as Mr. Fabian, broadly I would endorse Mr. Fabian's note of optimism that it is being derailed. Maybe in some institutions have been derailed, but can be derailed. There are other institutions which are attempted to be derailed, but showing some resilience. So that's what I guess democracy is all about, showing resilience. And I was struck by a statement by former President Obama, which I read on his on Obama's Twitter account, where he argued that the democracy can no longer be treated as self-executing or self-perpetuating. So it struck me that Obama is saying this about the US system, whereas the US system, as we all know, was taken for granted as the most as a democracy where institutions are much more much more solid and much more resilient than most other democracies. This indeed would have been the case with the US until some years ago, but now even in the US such statements are being made that democracy cannot be treated as merely self-perpetuating or self-executing. And of course, India has had its own experience over the last 10 years particularly. So I have 10 minutes, so I'll try to finish within this time that I've got. So the occasion of this book release is also very interesting. The timing, timing is very interesting because we are seeing a confluence of events which are threatening to derail democracy. Of course, the process of derailment has been on at various levels in the last 10 years, but some big thrusts have been made by the regime to derail democracy. And one, of course, as we all see, that's going on, the whole drama is playing out before the country. The Bihar exercise, the electoral rolls exercise, where the Supreme Court has shown reasonable resilience, I would say, by forcing the chief election commissioner to use Aadhaar as a basis for people who have been disenfranchised, 65 lakh voters who have been taken out voter list, to go there and just enter their names in the rolls. As Yogendra Yadav put it very nicely, he said, "Saap ka zehar nikal diya Supreme Court." The poison has been taken out of the snake. So I would, in the context of optimism, I would say that's a good sign. Of course, there are other signs which we see in terms of what Rahul Gandhi had presented with proof. The technology, which is meant to provide transparency, here technology is being used to contaminate the voters list, and at the same time, technology is being denied to get some transparent feedback on the outcomes. For instance, the Haryana High Court had ruled after the Haryana election that the opposition had gone to the court and said they wanted CCTV footage, etc. Opposition has been demanding an electronic voters list. All that is being denied. Rules are being changed, denied. So this everything is being done by this regime to derail basic practices of democracy, which we all used to take for granted earlier, right? So again, I come back to what Obama said. Nothing is self-executing in this country anymore. The voters list is not self-executing. The sanctity of the voters list, integrity of voters list. Chief election, the Supreme Court judgment order on chief election, the appointment of chief election commissioners. That was also by, again, a law ordinance. It was nullified by the government. Then there are ways in which higher judiciary is being on an everyday basis. This is going on. This is like 24/7 exercise. So therefore, the response, the erosion or the subversion of judiciary, 24/7 exercise. Subversion of media, 24/7 exercise. I mean, Hamidaji is sitting here. Wire has got many FIRs in the last 10 years, but she's the bravest of them all because she's got 16 FIRs from Assam. So I think we salute to her. So what I'm saying is that media is not the only one which is fighting or with this back to the wall. There are others, people with social conscience, activists like her. So there's a challenge before us, and those challenges are very clear. They are there before us, and I would suggest I would sort of fall back on Dr. Ambedkar, what he said. Now the broader aspects of our challenges. He said that it is that liberty, equality, and fraternity, all three are like, they're part of the same package. So one without the other does not work. So I would suggest that fraternity is something which has been under the maximum assault in the last 10 years. The way society is being sought to be divided along lines, along religious lines, caste lines, etc. I think fraternity is something that we need to really fight for, and I think fraternity can be protected by the people if they have enough dialogue among each other. So there is an attempt, the instrumentality of the state is being used to constantly, again, 24/7 to erode fraternity. But this is something that which needs to be, as Ambedkar said, can't take for granted. Constantly to keep working at it. The other point that Ambedkar had emphasized was that political democracy cannot survive without social and economic democracy. So we all know, and if these inequalities persisted, then democracy risks becoming a very nominal project. So these things are also under attack. So we need to address inequality, which is a very fundamental basis on which, if inequality keeps widening, then I think the role of democracy and its institutions would be seen as having failed, and I would a broader. And of course, Ambedkar also said that we must avoid laying liberties at the feet of a great man. Hero worship can degenerate into dictatorship. We are seeing that also. Sahu keeps writing for The Wire, and he's pointed out these things in several articles on how these people were so prophetic, whether it's Ambedkar, whether it's Nehru, whatever they said 70 years ago, it's playing out like a newsreel in front of us. So this, and of course other big, Ambedkar's other big claim at that time, that which Mr. Fabian in some ways paraphrased also. That Constitution is what? It's a document. So it's as good as the person that is in charge of executing the the constitutional, the spirit of the Constitution, which is the various arms of the state, etc. So all those things are captured in this book in various ways. I think the authors have touched upon all these aspects that I just spoke about. And there's a lot of interesting data in this book about how this huge centralization of power has happened in the last 10 years, and how India's ranking has been. This book has brings all the data together. It's fallen down in the rankings of democracy, media freedom, various other transparency indices, etc. So I'll end with that. So all these things have now come at us all together. So it seems like a perfect storm, which our society is having to combat. So basically, everything is the politics, that the way politics plays out in the next few years, which will tell us which ways is our democracy. Is it getting derailed further or getting derailed, as Mr. Fabian said? So I have hopes of something happening in our system. Those hopes are it may be based on a bit of wishful thinking, but I think what used to be the image of the great man has taken a beating, and there are many factors which have led to that, including Mr. Trump. I think this great concert between two authoritarians, which used to create a lot of fear amongst us. I think that concert is also getting, it's getting that link is getting severed. So I think all populist authoritarians in different parts of the world, owing to what Trump is doing, will have to look inward now, and they'll have to. They can't sort of take support for granted from the outside. So in my view, that's to some extent that's a positive for our politics, and I'm very happy that that the world is in a churn, but in that churn there is a opportunity for forces within our society that wants to strengthen our democracy, to do something and to reorganize themselves. This is my fond hope. And finally, I would say that there is a global trend about in the way populist authoritarians are getting elected and are ruling. Now, if you've read Thomas Piketty's book, there's an interesting correlation between what he says happened during the 1930s, when inequality, this is a more political economy kind of my analysis, when income inequality was at its peak, that's when the populist authoritarians rose in Europe in the 30s. And today we see a similar repeat of income inequalities. According to Piketty's own table, income inequalities are peaking again at the same level as that time. And there are populist authoritarians rising. But then this also comes to an end, because there are other forces also which counter these, and I'm hoping that that happens. Thank you.